moving on to the third page, trying to be vulnerable and coming back to crucial moments in communication and caregiving. If you feel awkward about something that's going on with someone in your life who has chronic pain or illness, trying to talk to someone else about it, a third person, and say, hey, I'm having a hard time with this relationship, or having a hard time providing support, or I'm having a hard time breaking through my friend's isolation, and trying to get support for the support, like Jenna said. And trying to get some language together for yourself also, like, I don't want us to pull away from each other, what can we do to make this work, and just trying to find some words. And this was talked about in Craig's piece, offering help and attempting to provide sustainable support, kind of keeping up your support in a sustainable way, and also offering specific help. We talked about this in our group. You know, would it help if I went to the doctor with you? Or open-ended questions like, I really want to support you, what can I do to be helpful right now? And just really not putting the burden on folks who are dealing with chronic pain and illness to always step up and have to ask for it, because we come from this culture where we're supposed to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps and we're supposed to take care of ourselves. And even in a radical community where we're very anti-capitalist and very radical, we really still struggle with some of those same things of having difficulty asking for help. And to avoid burnout, obtaining support, like Jenna talked about. And then another thing is trying to tolerate difficult emotions from people who are dealing with chronic pain and illness. When people are facing death, when people are facing chronic disease that impacts their life or will impact the rest of their life, or when people are dealing with grief and loss, it can be really hard to sit with some dark things that people might feel, and it can be really difficult to hear people feel hopeless, not optimistic, perhaps suicidal at times, and it can be really challenging to sit with that. And it's really important for us to try and make space for difficult feelings without freaking out and misunderstanding. This is something that came up in our conversations. And really knowing when you have to assess for suicidal risk and when you need to sit with hard stuff with your community. So there's some suggestions in there. And some suggestions for, you know, as someone with chronic pain or illness, how to tolerate difficult emotions, seeking supportive counseling with an educated and non-judgmental professional. I see a lot of people stay in unhelpful counseling, and that's really important to ensure that if you do decide to seek any kind of professional help, ensuring that it's really supportive and non-judgmental. And one of the last things was on the second to last page was considering the context of the person's life, really attempting to consider how all aspects of their life, class, race, gender, family history, and their identity plays out in health-related issues. People make different choices regarding the healthcare decisions they make, the ways they choose to heal themselves. Really important to be non-judgmental and try and make space for people to make choices. Some people aren't going to feel like they want to take care of themselves, and understanding there's a context to that as well. And the people are doing the best they can at any given time. And one thing we also talked about is not waiting until these issues come up to begin prioritizing them. So if you're not dealing with this literally right now, but this topic interests you, it's a great time to begin to think about, how might I support people in my community? How might I want to be supported? How might we organize around these issues so that we don't have to wait to a crisis point until we begin talking about them? So that's just a little something, and once again, it's not gonna cover all the bases, but these are just different suggestions we came up with. Any questions about them, or comments, or any of your own suggestions that came up? Emika.
Our friend Ben that you mentioned, who's written a lot about his illness, and I just read something he wrote about ways to support people with their illnesses, and he mentioned something that I never thought of, and I wish I would have thought of it when I got sick. But I guess it's never too late, is to read up about the illness that your friends or family have and learn about it, because that really helps a lot to know exactly, not exactly, but get a good sense of what they're going through physically and mentally. And I wish I would have told a lot of people that.
I mean, so how do you think it would have helped you?
I feel like, because like, I mean, my disease, it's, you know, there's a lot to it and a lot to know. It's not just, it's you know, there's so much involved in it. You know, medicines, treatments. I mean,
Peritoneal dialysis,
just,
for example.
yeah, I mean,
So
and
specific.
if anyone knows what peritoneal dialysis is, I'm sure. But there's, you know, there's dialysis. I didn't even know what dialysis was before I got sick. You know, it's something older people do. You know, I don't. It's so learning about illnesses that your friends and family have would really help, because I wish I would have known. I would have told my friends who like read up about what dialysis is or what kind of dialysis I was doing at the time. I think it just would have helped a lot.
I think too, it like saves you from having to do all the explaining. Like when you're totally physically exhausted, you don't want to have to do that. Or if someone comes to an appointment with you, if they are knowledgeable about what you're going through, they can help clarify things with the doctor for you, because like maybe you can't keep it all in your head at the moment. If you're feeling sick.
I also really like the point you had about like why do we have a cultural idea that you have to be doing this all by yourself. I remember at Cook Resistance there's a session about like how our bodies are so over medicalized. We're talking about like, well, what is the definition of healthy and why is healthy? There's like mental health also, like being able to do it by yourself. That's something I really struggle with a lot, because I work at a treatment center, and part of the idea of when the kids graduate from treatment is being able to be healthy by themselves. To me, that shouldn't be what healthy is. Yeah, that's what I pointed out.
Jenna?
I just wanted to add on to what they were saying about learning about what someone is experiencing and learning about the illness and researching is also researching other resources. So like when you're ill, maybe like there'll be potentially financial situation going on, or shelter situation, food situation, and really trying to figure out like all the things that someone needs on the day-to-day, and trying to figure out, you know, emotional support, financial support, and those kinds of resources also. And not so much to say this is what you should do, but kind of like I've also kind of thought about this, and if you need this resource, I did some research so that it kind of you can cut out you could be the middleman, I guess, and kind of share that information with your friend.
Totally awesome.
Yeah, I was just wondering what other folks like with have chronic illness or chronic pain, like things that were really helpful for them, or things that weren't really helpful for them. I know it's